Hey class, today we are going to focus in writing on the body of our personal narrative. So, as you know, step one, we already planned out our personal narrative. If you still haven't done that, you have to go back to that step and then get my feedback. Yesterday, we worked on writing the hook or the introduction. Be sure you look at the grade I gave you and the feedback I gave you to improve on that introduction. Now, today, what you're going to do is use that same Google Doc with your intro, and now you're going to add to it and write your body paragraphs. If you see in this picture of our graphic organizer we have been using to plan out our narrative, we are focused on the middle part of the story, those body paragraphs. Now, those of you that struggled with your hook and I gave you feedback to redo it, I threw this in here because I wanted you to have some more examples of how you could start your hook and really get your reader interested. You really want to give your best in the beginning of the story. Otherwise, people just won't read forward and they'll just put the story down, and we don't want that. Moving on to body paragraphs. Body paragraphs have to have these parts. They must answer the questions of why, how, or maybe where your story is going. If your reader still has these questions in their head as they're reading, it's going to become very confusing. So, the body paragraph is a time that you really make your story clear with details. It has to have supporting sentences and relevant details. Remember, in our planner, and you always want to reference back to that planner you did on Monday, we practice putting in sensory details. You want to make it clear to your reader, what were you smelling? What were you hearing? Maybe what were you touching or feeling? You won't always have every sensory detail to be able to explain. In my story of feeding the sharks, I'm not going to talk about probably what I tasted unless maybe I swallowed some seawater, but it'll be more about the touch, the sounds, and what I was seeing. Also, body paragraphs have to prove, explain, or describe something. This is time to really put in that detail so your reader can connect to what's happening in your story. Let's look at the body paragraph. So, if you see, you should already have a title or a working title, which means that we can change it later, your introduction, and now we've got the beginning of the story. You will see in this example, there are multiple paragraphs. Your writing as a sixth grader must have multiple paragraphs. Anything less is not grade level. And I know all of you can do it, and you need to just give your best. Take time. Make sure there's no distractions wherever you are. Put on your favorite music if that helps you. One thing to point out that I'm still seeing a problem with some of your writing, when we start a new paragraph, there are indents. So the paragraph is indented. If you see here, they either hit the tab button or you can hit your space bar about 4 to 5 times so you can indent. That lets your reader know visually that a new paragraph has begun. So as you can see, all these new paragraphs are lined up with an indent, and the rest of the sentence in the paragraph are lined up here on the left. Remember, every body paragraph has to start with a topic sentence. A topic sentence is a complete sentence that expresses the main idea of that paragraph. So each paragraph needs to be focused on a smaller idea, and that needs to be very clear from the topic sentence. Let's look at what would be some weak topic sentences. So let's look at this one. It's important to have friends and also do well in school. You'll notice that does not have a lot of detail or description. So we're not really sure if this paragraph is going to be about friends or doing well in school. Let's look at the correct way. I don't think I will have a better friend than Heather. That is a great topic sentence because we know this paragraph is going to be all about Heather being a good friend. Do you see the difference? Let's look at the next one. We flew to Brazil and had fun. Now, I've seen this in a couple of your pieces. Let's see how we can make that topic sentence better. On my visit to Brazil, we hiked to the top of a mountain to see the view of the city. That is very clear that this paragraph is going to be about the hike to the top of a mountain, not flying on a plane and then arriving and being at a hotel and then being at the mountain and then flying back. That is too many ideas. Each paragraph needs to be focused on one idea, one part of that trip, one specific event. Let's look at the example that I created for my personal narrative about swimming with the sharks. Entering the ocean water heightened my anxiety of meeting the sharks face to face. So, in my first body paragraph, you will see my topic sentence is explaining about when I first got in the water. I am only going to focus this paragraph about getting in the water. So, because I said I was getting in the water and had heightened anxiety, I now have to provide more detail to elongate my writing, help my reader connect to me and feel what I felt. So here's my details. The water felt so cold against my body, which made my muscles tense up. Once I placed my goggles and snorkel on, the anxiety turned into excitement. I placed my face down in the water and saw beautiful small fish and smooth, silky seaweed. Notice how I included sensory details. What I saw, those beautiful small fish, what I felt, smooth, silky seaweed. So you really want to connect those sensory details. I even talked about my muscles tensing up. So now it's your turn. You're going to go to your Google Doc from yesterday where your narrative was. You should already have your name, date, title, and intro paragraph. Now you're going to add to that by writing 3 body paragraphs. Each body paragraph must have a topic sentence and details to support it. So here's really the meat of your story and where you're going to really get into